and it was like, bro, literally, it was like the sky is blue.
Yeah.
No, the sky is purple. No, the sky is orange. No, the sky is basketball.
Bro.
No,
dude. Ah! Yes.
I have no idea. The
sky very much so became basketball, and I was losing my actual mind, bro. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the podcast, the show dedicated to talking about all the progress things in life, like music, content creation, and video games. I'm one of your hosts, JesseKazam.
And I'm freaked out.
Freaked out
for so many reasons. Like literally right before the podcast was playing No Man's Sky.
Okay.
And like real quick I like teleported back to my home base.
Okay.
And there's this weird bug that like as soon as I teleport back it shows me like in my standing in the middle of my base, but like I can't interact.
Okay.
And then like 2 seconds later I'm like underneath the floor and like fall to the ground because it's kind of my base is like on a ledge, like on a platform. So that's just like a weird annoying bug because I have to fly around, go in the door. But as when I'm standing there stuck, I see someone run out of my base.
That's not you?
No.
32 quintillion planets and someone's running outside of your base.
Close, 18 quintillion.
18 quintillion.
Like, what the fuck? So, I mean, it has to be a stream sniper or something. Like, there's no way someone just randomly stumbled across my base.
On a
random moon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was just weird. I was like, wait a minute, and I flew back and forth, and they kept being like the dot was showing in like two different places, and then finally I got there and was like, yo, what's up? And they just kind of like ignored me, got in their fucking ship and flew away. It was just weird.
That's super. So it didn't end up being like a stream sniper or whatever, or I guess maybe it could, but it didn't end up being someone that was trolling you. They just ended up running away.
Yeah.
Can they like steal your stuff?
There's settings.
Oh,
for all of that.
That's what you were telling me. Where like you could have been in a version of the game where he could have done those things, but because you weren't.
Yeah, because I turned off like only my. Actually, I don't even think you can make it so that's like anybody can modify your base, or you can have PvP with anybody. You can make it so that only friends can modify your base. I think I have it so that like nobody can change anything, but like. I think if I had the wrong settings, probably the default settings, he probably could have gone and fucked up some stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think he could interact with really much of anything there. So that was weird. But one of the things I wanted to tell you about, it was like 20 minutes of my life went down this rabbit hole like 3 or 4 days ago. That was really, I don't know why. It was like Truman Show, weird. It was just weird shit. So I'm still like working on outlining my video essay that I may or may not do on No Man's Sky being like
the cosmic horror. Yes, I want to watch that so bad.
So I did the whole thing where it's like I search on YouTube and then I like right click on like 10 videos and like open a new tab, open the kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I searched for a bunch of different things. Like one of the things I searched for was something I've talked about before, that short story by Stephen King called The Jaunt.
Yeah.
So like I pulled up a few videos about that because that's kind of adjacent to this whole thing. I pulled up just a bunch of videos. And then I ended up on some H.P. Lovecraft video where it was all, I think in maybe Finnish.
Okay.
Or some language that to me it could have been Latin. It could have been fake Cthulhu, deep tongue bullshit fake language, right? Like I had no idea, right? So and it was just like, what I ended up doing was I opened the video up and all of the comments were all in like the same.
Oh, okay.
Weird. Like looking at Finnish for some reason, I'm like, yeah, this could be literally like Latin. It
Dothraki.
Star Wars. Like the Borg.
Yeah.
Whatever. So I did a right click, and I did translate to English. And in Google Chrome, it'll translate, everything. So it translated like all the comments, and it was all like, it wasn't even like broken English. It was just like, yeah, man, totally love HP Lovecraft. And I was like, oh, okay, like. And I think Google Chrome said like translated from Latin or maybe Finnish. I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But so then that happened, and I was going through watching a bunch of other videos, and I was scrolling down in the comments, and I see a comment that says, and if you scroll down in our episodes, Doc, I have a little screenshot where it says, a month late, though the YouTube algorithm probably doesn't like it, but better late than never, as the saying goes. P.S. about this story now instantly became my favorite of all H.P. Lovecraft stories. Like, just a weird random comment, right?
Yeah.
And then, like, I open up a different video that I watch, 10 minutes later, I scroll down, and I see a comment from a completely different name. A month late, though, the YouTube algorithm probably doesn't like it, but better late than never, as the saying goes. P.S. about the story now instantly became my favorite Lovecraft. I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, weird. Is this guy like going around posting the same
comment from different accounts?
And then I went to another video, scrolled down, and like the 17th comment was a month late, though, the YouTube. And I'm like, is this like a meme, like a copy pasta? Because it was like a different name. I'm like, what's going on? And now this one, like I have made the connection between No Man's Sky, Lovecraft, and Stephen King.
Yeah.
Not that it's like, it's one of those connections that's so specific. Those three things
so niche
together.
Yeah, for a specific reason. Yeah.
So when I'm reading the comments section for a video about an obscure short story that Stephen King wrote, and it's like, instantly became my favorite H.P. Lovecraft, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, did I just stumble upon some weird, like,
what the heck? And it's all from different accounts each time?
All from different accounts.
Have you like copied it and just pasted it into Google and see what comes up?
Yeah, and nothing. And a bunch of
what if there was like an ancient manuscript?
No, a few of them had the same name, but different avatars. So different profiles. Now I figured out what happened after a while. And this has actually happened to me before, and I forgot about it. There's something with the way that Chrome handles translations and the way that YouTube comments are generated, that like it translates and like caches the translation or something. So no matter what I went to, I could pull up Britney Spears' Toxic music video and it would be like a month late. No,
it would have that comment saved and display it.
Yeah, so like if I'm scrolling, like the first like 15 comments would be relevant to the video, and then I would scroll and it would generate the next one, and it would be Bobby whatever with this comment. It's just something about the browser and how it does translations.
Damn. I could see like Veritas up at 3 a.m. with the red string tying all the videos together. Like this guy keeps commenting. And dude, Google Chrome is like, oh, my bad, dude.
I'm like, I gotta message these people. Did I just discover some weird black hole of, it was just really, really freaking weird.
Damn.
It's just such a weird, random, specific thing.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it creeped me out. I'm like, why? If you pull up 4 completely different videos and all of a sudden you see the same comment with the same name.
And not like
different accounts.
That would make sense in like 4 Tarkov videos, right? Like some dudes spamming memes, but like, H.P. Lovecraft, The Jaunt, No Man's Sky. Like, wait a minute,
dude. Imagine you go to McDonald's, okay, and like you grab your lunch, and there's a guy standing in the corner of the room, very creepily staring at you, and you're like, wow, that's fucking weird. You get in your car, you drive, you go pick up your dry cleaning, you walk in the front door, you look in the corner, and he's standing there looking at you. You're like, okay, this is fucking weird. You get home, as you're pulling into the driveway, you look and the guy is standing across the street in your neighbor's yard staring at you.
You found the YouTube comment form of Slender Man. Yeah,
dude. Slender comment.
It's always there, dude. It looks kind of normal from a distance, but when you look closely.
Dude, and then one other thing. Have you ever heard of, or are you familiar with the term, the bong cloud?
Bong cloud?
Bong cloud, yeah.
Man, I feel like
This is in the context of chess.
okay. Yes, you have explained this to me.
I think maybe we might have talked about
When
it.
we were going on the chess thing. Dude, I was like, why does that ring such a bell? Yeah, it was like a meme move that ended up being like a thing or something.
Yeah. So, one of the biggest, definitely the biggest content creator, but one of the biggest chess players of all time,
Hikaru?
Hikaru.
Okay.
Yeah, he had like a whole Bong Cloud speed run where
Gotcha.
he plays this stupid opening that's supposed basically if you play it you're gonna lose, and he'll go like 300 wins in a row against the best in the world. He's just that much better. So, but everybody thought that it originated with him, but nobody, so many people didn't realize that it actually came from this guy Lenny Bongcloud.
Yeah, Lenny Bongcloud
on chess.com. So I messaged him, and I don't know. We literally might have talked about this before on the podcast, but I messaged him because I was like, this would be a sick video. It would be like the real origin of Bongcloud. Nobody knows that it's all, if you go and you click on this guy's account and you go through his chess matches, you see he doesn't play chess like everybody else.
Yeah.
The whole goal is for him to get his king to the opposite side of the board.
Yes. Like he's playing a completely different game. I remember you saying that. Yeah.
So he moves the pawn
and they're like, what the hell?
And then moves the king. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? And it's just so I messaged him and I'm like, hey man, I'm a streamer, YouTuber that recently got into the world of chess. Now this was in December of last year. I said, would you ever be interested / available for an interview? And he wrote, maybe dudes, like MAEYBEDUEDS ... And he said, you with an H would be my firest man.
Starting to see where that Bongcloud name is coming from, you know what I mean?
So a couple months later, it comes like April. I'm like, yo, dog, would you still be down to chat? Like your email didn't work. And he goes, sure, dude. DUED. Like already like, fuck, like what? I can't tell if this is like I'm starting to get the vibe that he's like 75. Damn. And it's just like Cheech and Chong.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm pretty sure his avatar is like a Cheech and or Chong. I don't know. But basically, and I was like, do you have a Discord? And he goes, what's that, dude? Is that some Getir stuff, man?
Oh, my God.
And I'm like, it's a messaging app. Like, can we set up a call?
Okay.
Like,
so this is hilarious, but perfect for the video, right?
If anything ever comes
if he
from
ever,
it.
like, that's such a good, like, I just know that that's a good, like, you have to spend, like, a lot of time nailing the thumbnail and title of that video because, like, the origin story of the legendary Bongcloud chess opening. Like, what, that sentence is so ridiculous that, like, you have to click on it. You know what I mean? That sentence is so ridiculous. Oh my God.
So it's just the weirdest.
That is hilarious.
Am I being trolled? He also has a website. Have you ever heard of MeWe.com? Next gen social network. It looks like the precursor to MySpace,
but it's next gen.
MeWe.com. Imagine a place where you trust your social network. No ads, no spyware. It's the fun social media experience you can. Okay, I don't know, dude. Like,
hell yeah.
And so he hasn't answered me in a bit, but
come on,
just
Bong
like in
Cloud.
the uncanny valley, dude. I'm like living in this, like, what's going on?
The bong is in your court.
Ay. So what's
oh my God.
How's your world?
Oh, you know,
normal.
Tarkov's just imploding at an even more accelerated pace than average.
Dude, I heard so many random fucking things today that I'm like, oh God, I'm just gonna wait until the podcast.
Should we go chronologically or should we go based on what's happened like today?
Listen, dudes. Do whatever you want.
All right. We'll go chronologically. We'll go chronologically so that you can just, step into the mind that like the headspace that would be like, the event today. Okay. All right. So, I mean, Tarkov has been, sufficiently Tarkov these past few weeks. We know everything we've talked about. Okay. When was this? May 12th. So, So right after last week's podcast, we made a joke. Yeah. We made a joke. We did a podcast on the 11th. We made a joke. And then, of course, on Friday, they do an update, right? And I'm going to read you the patch notes, and you tell me what you think that means. Don't get too meta on it. If you were playing Tarkov and you saw this, what would you think this means? New balancing changes to Escape from Tarkov. Reduce the effect of the strength skill on walking speed.
Oh, yeah, this old chestnut.
Second point, significantly reduce the effect of the strength skill on inertia. What does that mean?
Bro, I followed this like someone was like, did you see this thing?
Yeah.
I opened up Twitter. I saw like a bunch of posts. I saw posts from Nice Guy and then a clarification from Nice Guy and then a post from you. And it was like... Bro, literally, it was like the sky is blue.
Yeah.
No, the sky is purple. No, the sky is orange. No, the sky is basketball.
Bro.
No,
dude. Yes.
I have no idea.
The sky very much so became basketball, and I was losing my actual mind, bro. Hold on. I have got.
And you know what the worst part was? The ambiguity of that.
Yeah.
Like, there's multiple ways you could interpret it. Like, once you take the time to, like, parse it and break it down, it was like, okay, this either means X or it means Y.
Yeah.
And some people would, and those two things were two completely different things. And what made it worse is that some people were coming into chat saying, I really like the changes because it feels like the way X would feel. And then other people are like, I hate it because it feels like the way Y would feel. And I'm like, maybe they just did both.
Brother.
It's an A/B test. Half of the people got one, half of the people got the other.
This was the closest I've come to like having a proper mental breakdown while I'm live. Because this change happens, I'm live. Because I'm gaming with Valiant, I'm live, we're doing our thing. And we hear reducing the effect of the strength skill on walking speed. And so my brain thinks as you, like, I didn't remember if there was a walking speed modifier, but my brain was like, okay, well, in theory, the higher your strength skill is, the faster your movement speed would be. So they reduced that effect. So now my movement speed is going to be slower. Significantly reduce the effect of the strength skill on inertia. Okay, once again, the way that's worded makes me think that at higher level strengths, there's a modifier so that the amount of inertia is lowered, and they've reduced that amount. So everybody read this and went, we're going to walk slower and have more inertia, which is the exact opposite of what literally everybody in the game wants, right? So it started tanking. L update. I'm retiring from Tarkov, just like blah, 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 blah. And I felt so strongly in my gut. I was like, there's no way they would do that, right? Like that is such an L of a change. There's no shot. So I reach out for clarification. It's one of the community managers. And what I receive is, so it's more of a change for those who haven't reached elite strength. PMCs at lower levels of strength will have a bit faster walking speed, and PMCs at lower levels of strength will be a little bit less affected by inertia. And then I even re-qualified that and said, gotcha. So this means it doesn't really, you're not going to see a big effect if you are at the top end. It's more going to affect those at the low end. And I got a yes. So that made me think, okay, so basically it's really bad way of communicating that like we decrease how much the strength skill is at the other end, where like the base walking speed is higher now, so strength has less of an effect. Base inertia is less now, so strength has less of an effect. So I was like, okay, so in my brain, I was like, I can kind of see that wording, but I was like, I said, please retweet it with better wording. And they didn't, but I was like, that's weird.
Is that the equivalent of saying, like, if you have lemonade, you're like, we're going to decrease the effect of the lemon flavor. And what they mean was we're going to add a gallon of water.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
They're not changing anything. They're like watering.
Yeah. They word it as if they're taking lemons out, but they're just adding other ingredients in, which subsequently dilutes the flavor of lemon. But you could have just said we're adding more water. Yes, kind of like that. That's what my brain rationalized it, because I could at least see it. We're not at the sky is basketball yet. We were at the sky was purple. That didn't make sense. I asked. They said the sky was blue. You communicated it weird. Blue the sky is. You know, we could have done that better. And I was like, please communicate this better. Then 2 things happen. Okay, I read that DM. I was like, oh, this is what this means, because I was like, I want to help, right? Like if there was a big translation error here, or not even translation, but if it was just like a really big miscommunication and the change is the exact opposite, I wanted to help get out in front of it, because I know how these things spiral, right? So I read that.
You were playing PR manager.
But I even kind of was like, you know what? I don't know if I'm in a mental state that I'm ready to like all caps tweet, guys, like I figured it out. It's okay. And so I read it on stream and we were in a raid and I was just like processing if I wanted to do that, right? Because like those are the moments. Actually, I don't even want to get into how the meta-ness of it, but I just wasn't sure if I was ready for that, right? So 2 things happened at this point. One, somebody clipped me reading it and started posting it all over Twitter, which is fine. I understand that that's the risk I run, right? So then I was becoming that guy without being ready for it. I hadn't decided I was going to tweet out that clip, but then the clip started being responded into everybody's tweets, which then positions me as like a guy, right? So a lot of people watch the clip and they're like, oh, well, this guy thinks that it's a good change. You know what I mean? And the other thing that happens is the data miners start coming out of the woodwork. And so the data miners come out with stuff saying like, our data shows that a flat 15% change, regardless of overweight effect, has happened to movement speed. So your movement speed is slowered by 15%. This is when it really starts hitting the fan, because up until now, we're reducing the lemon flavor. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, we're adding more water. And I was like, this is confusing, but it makes sense. Then out of left field was lemons are potatoes. Things just started, what? What do you mean? 15% reduction in movement speed? What? So now, by this point, the well is sufficiently poisoned, right? You have people who say, I noticed this 15% reduction in movement speed right away. As soon as I loaded into the raid, I noticed it.
I opened the launcher and I could tell my character was moving slow.
You had people saying that. You had people saying they couldn't notice anything. You had people saying they can't really notice anything when underweight, but when you're overweight, they felt like that there was more inertia. I had people telling me that when they were lower levels, I was asking chat this, I had many people tell me I'm level 23 and my strength level is level 12, and I feel like I can run much farther on one stamina bar, which is kind of what the original, like they're separating, like they got a movement buff.
Which also has nothing to do with inertia too. Like that
Correct.
Was another thing.
But the original tweet was that they had changed a walking speed with strength and inertia with strength. So,
but when you're saying like running on a stamina bar, the first thing my brain comes to is that has nothing to do with walking or inertia.
Exactly.
Which makes it there's another layer of like.
So now the well is so sufficiently poisoned. Everybody is regurgitating, what they're hearing or what they're seeing. You have a lot of people just regurgitating what their favorite streamer. Placebo effect is in full force. And what's crazy is that, I was on the opposite side of placebo effect, where the regular placebo effect is somebody said, have you felt how crazy this movement speed nerfs are? And then people get in, they're like, oh yeah, it's bad, Which, because I even mentioned this, there's no A/B testing, right? They flip the switch and it's it. You can't then go back to the old build. So like I can't be like, okay, well, let me run here from here. Let me run here to here. Let me put 80 kilograms on and then try an 80 strafe and do this. It's just
unless you've done a test 6 months ago for a different video.
Exactly. That you can recreate exactly. And then I was on the other end of placebo where I was looking so hard for the changes that I was like, I don't trust my own opinion anymore. Desmond came in and he said, how do you like the changes? And I was like, I don't know. I had been ignoring everybody else's questions, but Desmond he plays the game so much, and he plays the game in a much more consistent way than I play the game. He's the kind of guy that like wears similar kits so that the movement speed penalties don't mess with him, right? Like he's a very technical player. He's very good, and he's trained himself. So he came in, he asked my opinion. I said, Desmond, I don't know, what's your opinion? I actually trust your opinion more than my opinion, because I'm looking for, oh, does this feel different? I don't know. Like, and we did that for an hour, so now I can't tell anymore, right? And he was like, I definitely feel way more inertia at the top end. Some things feel a little weird. And I was like, okay, like, I don't know, man, I don't know. And then it just kept doubling down. You had somebody else, I'm not going to name it because the tweet was deleted eventually, but like, and this isn't, if you know who I'm talking about, this is not a bash on this person at all. I actually have a lot of respect for this person at all. But what this tells me is that sometimes the data miners may have information, but may not necessarily know how to interpret that information. They see a value change, and that value's name could be like a really weird, arbitrary, mistranslated, or stupid name for a thing. We all know, the same way they say, we're taking the lemon flavor out. Maybe they can do that with some of these values on these files, and nobody knows. And so they see a number value change, and they don't know. But then, because then somebody else came in and said, no, everybody's taking this way out of proportion. And the inertial effect when decelerating, when you let go of W, was reduced by 75%. And somebody was like, what does that mean? And they were like, oh, well, you're going to stop almost instantly now when you let go of W. Which is exactly the opposite of everybody's in-game experience. At this point, the most consistent opinion was when at higher weights, 50, 60 plus, inertia is worse. So then a different data miner comes out and says, you guys are all taking this wrong. The numbers don't lie. Inertial when decelerating is, dude, and now the sky is basketball, right? It's just like nothing means anything. I don't know what the original tweet meant. I don't know what the response I got maybe was like the intention of the change, but maybe even that person misunderstood what the changes were. The data miners have numbers, but they're not always 100% accurate at interpreting what those numbers mean. At this point, everybody, and once again, much to their own doing, I'm not defending BSG implicitly here, much to their own doing, a lot of people are just looking for a reason to be pissed. So when there's misunderstanding in the room, the negative opinions are going to float to the top. They're going to win, right? And then I tweeted out later because then for 3 hours, I've got huge streamers that I really respect, by the way, and love, responding with my clip. X huge streamer is like, hey, what's going on with Tarkov? I haven't played today. And then X huge streamer is like, I don't know, I saw this clip earlier. And it's me. And now I don't know if that thing that I read was even correct. And now people are coming in and being like, bro, why are you, like, the data miners say that you're wrong, bro. And I was like, and I was losing it. I was imploding. I was like, I need you to know I hold no opinion firmly. If you tell me my name is Josh, I'm going to say you're probably right. All right. I can't do this. I'm not this guy. I'm not the double down kind of guy that's just like, no, I heard this from a community manager. So it was just like all day I was losing my mind because I was like, I don't know what's happening. I can't tell anything anymore, because then all the data mining stuff is coming out after people have made opinions on things, right? They hop in, they play, and they're like, oh, I can't tell a difference. And then they see a data miner and they're like, wait, I wasn't looking that direction. I was looking this direction. I was looking for inertia. Now you're telling me my walk speed's different. Maybe it is. And the opinions just went crazy. And it was just like somebody just woke up and chose violence. They just like picked out the shotgun out of the gun safe and just pointed it directly at Foot and was just like, it's Friday, bitches. Just like, it was insane. It was the most insane, like 6-hour stream and I just didn't even know. So I truly to this day don't know what that change was about. I tweeted later, I was like, listen, I can't really notice it a whole lot. I can't really notice it. But I've heard of other people who are lower level saying that they've seen positive changes, like that they've seen like they can run farther, they can run faster, and I think that's a W. And then I got like destroyed in the comments about like, you think this change is a W? And I was and people are like, don't lie to yourself, you can feel it. And I was like, and then I had some actually very reasonable people come in and be like, man, that's crazy that you don't feel it. It seems crazy. And I'm like, me not feeling it doesn't mean it's not there. And so for a few people I elaborate, I was like, I was looking too hard at that point, and I just couldn't tell what was what anymore. So
Bro,
I just
when I go to the
stopped.
eye doctor,
yes,
and they do the whole, which is better, one or two? And I'm like, by the time that you see two, I've already forgotten what one looks like.
I was so riled up, but I was laying in bed thinking about that exact same analogy. You go in the eye doctor and they go, which one do you like better, number 1 or number 2? And you go, I don't know. You know deep down in your heart, they're different. That's the whole point of the damn test, but you can't tell. And that's where I got. I got to the point where I was like, I can't tell anymore.
But you don't even have the benefit of that. You have I'm showing
you better.
Two. Is it better than 1? And you're like, I don't remember.
And at this point, 1 was 6 hours ago. You know?
Yeah.
And so like some people were like, I noticed it. And I was like, I get it. I was like, 2 things. A, I'm not good enough in this game to spend a lot of time at 60 kilograms plus, right? I just die all day long. So if you're saying that most of the change is happening at the higher weights, then I wouldn't necessarily trust my opinion to be an authority opinion there. And 2, I was like, I was just looking too hard, right? So me not being able to notice it doesn't mean it's not there. It just means I don't know. And it means I don't know what I'm looking for. At this point, I've been told 4 completely different versions of what these changes are by 4 completely different people that I don't even know what I'm looking for to tell you if it's good or not. Now,
yeah, there's 4 different parameters that are all changing.
Yeah.
Not only so you have like how fast can you walk? How far can you run? How long does it take to stop? At level 1 character, level 1 strength, at 0 kilograms, and then all the way up to there's 4 parameters you're measuring with 3 moving parts that change on a scale from min to max.
Yeah.
And then that's only now. You'd have to compare all of those to yesterday.
Yes. So people are like, what do you think about the changes? And I go, which ones are you referring to? Who got to you first? Was it this data miner? Was it this data miner? Was it this streamer? Was it this tweet? Was it my clip? I don't even know, because all of those things actually say different parameters were changed.
Which well did you drink from? What's your poison? Yeah.
So what do you think about the changes? I don't know, because I don't even know what you're asking me. It was so crazy. Now, 2 things. One, the general consensus in the like 24 hours after that was that like, I don't know what all the bullcrap on Twitter was about, but at higher weights, inertia feels worse. You know what I mean? Like inertia feels worse at the higher weights. And then the second thing was the more I played on other days, I started to feel that, because at this point I was so over the whole thing, I was just playing the game. And because I was just playing the game, I was in a completely different mind frame, and it wasn't me looking for anything. It was just me like running around. Maybe I had 45, 50 kilos in my bag, and I would just stop and I'd be like, whoa, that feels a little intense. So I started to feel the higher end of it when I wasn't like looking for all these things, right? Like when I was just playing the game, because honestly, what I trust more than me like looking and being like, is this recoil better or worse? Is this better or worse? What I trust more than me like looking at it with a microscope is I trust the 6,000 hours of muscle memory I've built up, right? The subconscious often tells more of the truth because it's a little bit less prone to the placebo effect. So over the next few days when I was just playing and I would catch myself going like, whoa, I feel like I'm sliding, that was when I started piecing. I was like, okay, yeah, I can see how people say that they think it's worse at the top end. Like the inertia is a little bit worse when you've got 40, 50, 60 kilos on. But like, dude, it was crazy. It was.
But so here's
crazy.
the thing that comes to mind just right away for me is that like nobody runs around with 60 kilograms worth of shit without taking 3 stims.
Yeah.
So now are people running around without taking the mule and the SJ6 and the whatever? It's been so long I don't even remember.
Tramadol and all that kind of
stuff. Are now they running around without those drugs, going, "Wow, everything's so bad. Look how bad it is." But they haven't actually done that for 2 wipes because they've been, ODing on drugs every time they get a bunch of loot. That's like another variable.
Exactly, that's another variable. I think there were instances where you can notice it where if you were, peeking a doorway or something like that before you had taken your drugs or something. But you're absolutely right. It's so hard to pin these down. It's all feeling. You know what I mean? It's just like, people feel that it's different. Once again, I trust people like Desmond's feelings on that kind of stuff over mine. It's just, it was a cluster, dude. It was like so frustrating that I was like thrust into like a part in that when I was trying to do was help. I felt in my gut that didn't translate right. So I asked and they said it didn't. And then I was like, oh, cool. Like we're going to help here. And then I felt like I ended up hurting more because my clip was one of those versions of things that were confusing people. And I was like, damn, that's the exact opposite of what I was trying to do. You know what I mean? I definitely don't have access to the data. I'm not a data miner. So all I can do is just seek clarification from somebody that I know. And then maybe that clarification helps. But because of how insane it was, my clip ended up being another confusing thing. You know what I mean? And then people were coming in and saying, well, you said this, or this person said you said this, or this person said you're wrong about this. And it just got kind of like insane. And to me, more than the frustration with the data miners or the this or the that, the most frustrating thing with me is just like BSG. Just can we hire a guy whose full-time job is to like read the tweets, please? And like, and just like, can we communicate in a better way? You know what I mean? If this was just like, my thought was like, if you said we changed these values, you don't have to say like what's on the data set, but say they said we reduced strength, the effective strength. Give us like numbers because the numbers are coming out. Like, you know what I mean? You know that they're coming out anyway. So own the story. If you said we reduce, the effective inertia on high level players at this level and Y, we are aiming to X. We are aiming to reduce the amount the strength skill plays on your overall character progression. We are aiming to increase the mobility for lower level players without affecting the mobility of higher level players, because then that allows us to provide feedback. If we know what the intention is. I wouldn't even
give a number. Like if I were them, because I think the numbers are meaningless. Yeah, 25% of what?
Yeah,
right?
And ultimately just confuse people more. That's a good point.
So I mean, the way, like if I worked for BSG. I would type this out and then stare at it for a while and think, but the first thing that comes to mind is adjusted the amount of, whatever it was, the strength or the skill or inertia or whatever it was they tweaked so that lower level players will be more mobile or so higher level players will not be as mobile.
Exactly.
Or to bring, the lower and higher level players closer to each other, like some description,
because then we get
changes.
We get 2 things. The player gets 2 things that they didn't get from that original tweet. We get to provide actual feedback on that change and whether the community thinks that's a good or bad change. And we get to communicate the feedback on how well the change was executed. Because
we know the what and the why.
Exactly, because maybe there's a universe. We all know the spaghetti code, right? Maybe there's a universe where they did try to increase the mobility of lower level players, but they didn't realize how many things, all the spiderweb are connected, and it made inertia worse at the high end. So if they communicate, this is what we did, and this was the intention, and then everybody started seeing this other byproduct, that feedback is so much more valuable, because then it's like, what, did you mean to do this? And they maybe can do that. But without all of that, everybody's just yelling. Everybody's just yelling into the wind, like L change, L, you know what I mean? Everything gets reduced down to that. So knowing the intention of the change, what are we trying to accomplish? Now, once again, I know they want to keep some stuff close to the vest on some occasions. I'm not saying that they need to, we don't need to twit longer, but literally just that. We changed these things with the intention of increasing player mobility at lower levels. And then if that's the intention and everyone's like, well, at higher levels, the inertia is way worse. Did you intend to do that? Maybe they legitimately didn't. And they now know. Now, what was nice is that 2 days later, we got an update tweet. New balancing changes to Escape from Tarkov proportionately reduce the inertia strength while moving, walking, and strafing for characters with the medium and heavy overweight effect. For characters with the heavy overweight effect, so you know how like there's like green and you're not overweight, and then orange you're overweight, and then red you're really overweight. There's like a few more subdivisions of that. But basically they said for characters with the heavy overweight effect, they reduced inertia by 15%. For characters with the medium overweight effect, they reduced inertia by 7.5%. For characters without the overweight effect, the inertia is unchanged. This change is due to the community feedback on the results of Friday's balancing changes and will allow for a better experience in the raid.
Proportionally reduced the inertia strength. Come on, man. The inertia strength. Could they have made it?
Hey, it's better than the other tweet, because we kind of got a little bit of that. They said we reduced it. They said we reduced it at these levels for these effects. And they said that they directly said that this was a change due to community feedback. They didn't really express the intention of the new. Well, I guess it was because whatever.
No, but okay, but I mean,
so it was better.
Maybe I'm being an idiot, right? But reduced the inertia strength.
Yeah.
What the fuck is the strength of inertia?
Yeah.
Proportionate to, I guess proportionate to your weight. So if you have very strong inertia, that means that's like ice skating.
Yes.
Like more.
Yeah.
So reduced inertia, like it's just.
Yeah.
Fucking why word it like that?
I don't know. But it was still worded strangely, but much more clear than because after that original sentence they listed it out. They said for characters with the heavy overweight effect, they reduced inertia by 15%. For characters with the medium overweight effect, they reduced the inertia by 7.5%. So they were able to directly address that. Now, once again, the well is sufficiently poisoned on these two changes in combination. I don't know what's happened, because they said they did the change originally and then we don't know what the change was, but then the perception of the change was that inertia was increased at the high end, and then they subsequently in another patch reduced the inertia at the high end depending on how heavy you are. And so now I don't know if at 50 kilograms, I don't know if today the inertia strength is the same as it was before the whole debacle. Is it slightly worse? Is it slightly better? And what were the things from the original change that have persisted through the subsequent change? I don't know. I truly and honestly don't know. It was weird. It was a weird situation.
Can we agree that translation from Russian to English is a huge factor? I mean,
no. Yeah. No, because there are a lot of people on the team that speak English, and you're that assumes
they didn't tweet it in Russian.
Exactly. That assumes that a tweet, a verbatim tweet, was sent to the guy who runs their Twitter in Russian and he translated it to English. I'm not saying that that's not possible. It's very possible that happened, but they have lots of people on the team that speak English. And so we don't have a reason to believe that there's two guys that work on their Twitter, a guy that writes the tweets in Russian and then a guy that translates them and tweets them in English, because they never tweet in Russian. So I think there's a language and translation issue just among how information is disseminated into. I think a lot of times I would say the bigger factor, if I had to guess, now this is a guess, once again, I'm not judging any of the people on their team. My guess is that because of how complicated Tarkov is, right? Like, who's making the decision on what needs to be changed? Who's making those actual changes? Who's communicating what those changes are to the PR department? That's where I think the breakdown is, right? Like, who's the guy that's like, we need to tweak these things? Is his vision for these changes accurately communicated to the coder that makes the changes? And then are the changes and the vision for the changes accurately communicated to the PR department who ultimately construct the tweets? You know what I mean? Like,
and this is why, like, communication, just skills in general, like, I think this is less of a language thing and more of a communication thing, which might seem like a difference or a distinction without a difference, but
yeah,
I think you could, in very shitty English, say things much clearer.
Yeah.
It's about figuring out how do you want to communicate the message that you want to communicate.
Yeah.
And that message shouldn't be, the new value for X is 7 down from 8. It should be, you'll feel less ice skating now, right? Like, that's what you need to communicate.
Yeah.
They might as well say, we reduced the effect, how significant the armor damage and blunt damage modifiers are on the overall equation by 20%. And people don't realize that those values are one of 73 variables. Yeah. So that means that the equals actual final result is not going to go up 20%. Exactly. If you increase it 20%, it might only go up something rounded. And, so
and
it's like,
what's proof of that? What's funny is that they're talking, whoever, I'm not trying to dump on you, but whoever said, like, can we agree that a big part of this is the translation issue? What's proof that it's not is that the multiple data miners got just cold hard facts. They got number changes and none of them could communicate what happened in game. And if it was just an English translation, then these guys should just be able to see the numbers and whatever. We actually had people saying that inertia was reduced by 75% when literally everybody playing the game was saying inertia was increased.
Well, yeah, but part of that is, again, that's actually the reason why that makes sense to me is the same thing that what I just said.
Yeah.
Which is
me agreeing with you.
They see a variable changing.
Yeah.
And they assume
that's the only variable.
Yeah, well, not even that they assume that's the only variable, but they assume they know how that variable is used.
Yeah.
That variable might be something that is like, it might be plus 0.2. It might be times 200. It might be times 0.2. It might be divided by 20. Like, they don't know how the variable is used, and you don't know in what equation it's used.
Yeah.
So again, it's like, don't fucking give us numbers or percents.
Yeah. Give us intention. What do you want to do?
What is the change supposed to feel like and why? And we can tell you whether or not it feels like that.
It feels like that. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like that and we like that change, or it feels like that and we don't like that change. Now, they can do with that feedback what they want, but it's at least proper feedback now. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of what was like my feedback to them was like, because what I don't want them to do is like, once again, this is where it flips, right? Everybody up until now is going to be like, cynical, jaded streamer, hates BSG. This is where everyone's going to flip and call me a fanboy. I'm so glad BSG is tweeting these changes. A year ago, we would have never, ever, ever expected BSG to tweet out changes with percentages, exactly what they're changing. That was stuff that was always data mined, and we were always frustrated about that. They're communicating so much more. They're just not communicating effectively. So what I don't want them to do is like just turtle back up and never communicate these things. My feedback is like, please, please, please continue to tweet these things. Just like spend some time considering what does the player need to know to understand what's happening and then to provide valuable feedback from it. You know what I mean? Like that, like continue to tweet these things. Continue to tell the player base what's happening. That is important. But there are new risks involved. By not communicating, you had risks, and by communicating, you have new risks. And if you communicate either ineffectively or if you communicate effectively, a hole is formed, a black hole where nobody understands what's happening, and that hole will be filled by most likely misinformation. You know what I mean? Or correct
toxicity and insults.
Or
and
correct information interpreted wrongly. So like there's too many things that hole can be filled with. So just don't allow for it to happen. Like over communicate it. Just make sure people know.
Yeah, and BSG's historically been very good at filling holes.
Yep. Speaking of filling holes.
No. Come on. This can't be. Oh, God. Finish the sentence, bud. Finish the sentence.
My face hole. When I'm hungry, I love to turn to the sponsor of this. Dude, we're gonna get fired. I turn to the sponsor for this episode of the podcast, and that is HelloFresh. Thank you so much, HelloFresh, for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. Real talk though, HelloFresh is great. They partnered with us for a while, and we have both ranted and raved about them. HelloFresh is awesome. It is a meal delivery kit that serves you amazing food that you can cook up. It's incredibly convenient. It's incredibly delicious. There are well-balanced proportions. There's tons of things that go into what HelloFresh offers. Not only can you pick from 40 recipes every week, so you get the opportunity to pick how many meals you want for how many people, and you get to choose between 4 different menu items every single week. But you can also choose from up to over 100 items in total between like snacks or smoothies or drinks or other things that you can add to your order. There's tons of different things. What's actually really cool as well is that this May, HelloFresh is celebrating Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. You can try limited time authentic recipes created in partnership with Chef Serbi Sani of New York City's Togmo restaurant, which is kind of awesome. So this is cool that they're actually partnering, and not only are the recipes in general just like pretty seasonal to what you are, it's not just 40 of the same recipes over and over again, but this is actually, this month what they're doing is actually celebrating Asian American and Pacific Islander heritage by partnering with this really dope chef out of New York City, which is kind of sick.
Oh my God, dude. Yeah, I'm actually excited because I'm really picky when it comes to a lot of food stuff. But a lot of different Asian dishes. I like Thai, Chinese, Japanese. I'm looking forward to trying some of these out, man.
Honestly, in my personal experience with HelloFresh, the Asian recipes have been our favorite. Like we were like pre HelloFresh, I've talked before about how like I've learned just so much about how to cook by using HelloFresh and like being able to follow the instructions, but also the types of food we cooked was very pigeonholed into like we'd made like burgers and sandwiches and a few other things because I didn't really know how to cook a lot of stuff. And so like a lot of the Asian dishes, like rice bowls or tacos or anything like that or noodles have ended up being like some of our favorite ones that we like always pick up when they come back. So like, so this is pretty cool too that they're kind of leaning into that. So,
dude, their stir fry is bomb.
Bussing, as the kids say.
Oh my God, is that what they say?
I think they said that like a year ago, and they probably don't anymore. So you can even save money with HelloFresh. HelloFresh is definitely, I can attest to, we fell into the hole of just like eating out like every night, which it gets unbelievably expensive these days. So depending on your experience, you can save money, you can learn to cook, you can enjoy delicious food. It's all kind of a part of the process. And the big thing that's always hit home with me is the convenience of it. You can skip a week if you want. You can increase the amount of meals you want this week if you have a bunch going on and you don't want to go to the grocery store. You can lower the amount of meals you want this week if you've got other things going on. Incredibly flexible, incredibly good food. I've been using them for like 6-8 months now. We have a stack of the recipes, great food. So,
and when you sign up too, one of the coolest things for me was the options that like,
oh yeah,
you can say meat and veggies, you can say you're vegetarian, you can say you're pescatarian, you can say, I think fit and wholesome is another
yeah,
one. There's family friendly options.
yep.
So like everybody has, I'm sure, something that they can fit into there. Yeah.
Into their face hole.
Fit into their face hole. Yeah.
So go to HelloFresh.com/Pogcast16 and use code Pogcast16 for 16 free meals plus free shipping. That's 16 free meals plus free shipping at HelloFresh.com/Pogcast16 and use code Pogcast16. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Thank you so much for sponsoring this video, and I'm sorry.
One of my favorite taglines for I've talked about another podcast a million times, the Adventure Zone.
Oh yeah,
They do the D&D, and one of the seasons of D&D they did was like they made this whole world and it was underwater basically.
okay.
And one of the characters, the season was called Ether Sea. One of the characters, his name was Zooks. He was basically like made of coral. And one of his, you should listen to it. I don't even have to get into the details. There's going to be 3 maximum people in our audience that are going to get the reference. But
Okay.
One of the things that was they had multiple rules of Ether Sea. The first rule was everybody has a knife. I think like rule number 4 was that there's a hole for that. So
there's a hole for that.
There's a hole for that. Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, so coming off the heels of the just the most glorious 3 days in Escape from Tarkov history, let me tell you, we got a technical update. Now, mind you, April 28th is when they released the roadmap. April 28th, they released the roadmap, and I'm trying to figure out when the devcast was. It was earlier in April. Oh God, I
was just thinking about your segue. But speaking of filling your hole,
bro, that one
solid,
that
golden.
One. Okay, so April 7th was the podcast, the devcast, where they were telling us about all the things. April 28th was the roadmap, where they showed us that they were having like a small technical update, then the transition to Unity, then a really big technical update, and then the big content stuff. It's May, and we have not seen that initial technical update, which once again isn't the Unity transition and isn't the big netcode transition. It's just the precursor technical update. We still hadn't seen that. We woke up the other day. We have started the installation of a technical update. The installation will take approximately 3 hours. So we were like, is this 13.0.5? Like, are we starting? Are we starting the process, right? It was not. It was not that. Dude, tell me what this sentence means. Technical back-end update aimed at optimizing and expanding internal functionality.
I'm sorry?
Internal functionality of what? I don't know.
Wait,
don't ask questions, okay? Technical back-end update aimed at optimizing and expanding internal functionality.
Expanding the internal back-end functions.
So they were lubing up the back end, I guess. I don't know.
Bro, that was word salad.
Yeah. 100%. That was completely word salad. Now, that was just the first thing. Then they hit us with list of fixes. Fix the inability to create in-game group chats. Fix the not leveling of health skill upon successfully training in the gym and the hideout. And then we got all that this patch was to me was fix the inability to sell some items to traders that couldn't be sold before. Have you been made aware of that bug?
Nope.
It's been in the game for like a month, dude. Literally, just like, okay. So if you took an Excel spreadsheet of every item in Escape from Tarkov. Okay, lead X's, pro kills, compensators, upper receivers, lower receivers. And I closed your eyes and I just said point to 500 of them and delete them. Then that Excel spreadsheet was then updated as to what is sellable to the traders. It was completely random. You would get to Peacekeeper and he wouldn't buy this gun, and you would right click disassemble it, and it was because he can't buy that gas block anymore. And a lot of times no one can. Not even Fence. Sometimes things that, for example, LEDXs you couldn't sell to therapists anymore. So if you found a LEDX and died, you had a paperweight. But Fence would buy it. I found out way later. I almost deleted a LEDX or something, but like Fence would buy. But then other things, Fence wouldn't even buy like the thing. But it was so.
This was a bug.
Yeah, but it was so random. It was random things, and it was to every trader. Like Ragman wouldn't buy some backpacks, Peacekeeper wouldn't buy some gun parts, Therapist wouldn't buy some valuables. And it was so random. And it was in the game for weeks, dude, weeks. So this was them fixing that. So that bug is fixed. And people started to be like, it's an event. I was like, I swear to God, it's not an event, bro. So they fixed that bug. So that's what that technical update was. Now, the problem with that was it like immediately broke a few people, mainly Ragman, in that they just stopped restocking items. Like when it would sell out, it would just sell out, and he wasn't restocking them. And it was so funny because the reason people thought that was an event was because it was like items people wanted. The problem was primarily only Ragman, and it was tons of armors, like lots and lots of armors. But then Skier had the bug, but with only like 2 items. And one of them was the blue flashlight everybody's been using because the flashlight bug is still in the game. So people were like, it almost seems too targeted. You know what I mean? But it was just because those are the things people buy. So those sold out the quickest. But some things were refreshing on resets, like some ammos. And then you know how like on Ragman, if something's out of stock, it'll still be there, but it'll be like grayed out a little bit and it'll say out of stock in the bottom. Something happened. Boom, and Ragman, all of the things that were out of stock were just deleted from Ragman's listing. So if you had level 4 Ragman, he sold a total of like 22 items. And then everyone's like, it's an event, they're taking everything away. And I was like, at this point, I've refused to even open my mouth. I just run around and play the game and die. And
there's a bottle somewhere on like the streets of San Francisco with like a message that is like, everything must go, love Ragman. And then like
we just haven't found it yet, bro.
They never tweeted the latitude and longitude.
Yeah,
like they forgot to hit send.
They never tweeted the ARG.
Yeah,
meme. Oh my God. But and that broke presets because certain things were out of stock, and you can't build a preset if like there's like a flashlight out of stock or whatever, but it doesn't tell you what's. It was crazy. They fixed that like a few hours later. So that wasn't like in the game for days. They ended up just fixing that a few hours later too. I swear to God, this happened. I started losing my mind with how many people were like, what's up with Ragman? Is there an event? I reach over as kind of like a meme. I reach over and I speak it into my mic as I'm typing it. And I change my stream title to like, Ragman is broken. I don't know if it's an event or not. Please God, please stop asking me. I'm not sure. Just like as long of a stream title as I could. I updated the stream title. Less than 30 seconds later, people were coming in the chat and they'd be like, what does your stream title mean? Ragman is fine. And I was like, stop. I'm going to throw up. As so I pressed enter, they deployed the fix. So then for like 5 minutes, people were like, I don't have the bug. And I was like, well, maybe you don't have the bug. Maybe it's for other people. And then my mods were like, no, dude, they actually fixed it. It was like, the timing was unreal. It was unreal, dude.
You starting to like look around for cameras.
Yeah, dude.
You start like you're getting fucking Veritas syndrome where you're like, yo, are they fucking with me, dude?
Nikita's listening to my mic. Ugh. So
he never listens to Mike.
He never listens to Mike. So now like 4 separate things were bugs that people were like asking if they were events. Okay? this morning, we wake up, we've got an event. We actually have an event this morning. There's like a 2-minute video of Fence, like an actual video of Fence in his hood, super dimly lit. And he's like preaching from his manifesto about how the scavs run the town. And
I can see Fence being like, man, fuck high school, dude. Fuck my parents, man.
You guys used to sell all your stuff to me, and now no one sells to me, man. The flea market ruined the game.
Chain wallet, dude. I just wanted a chain wallet, man. It's fucking stupid. I guarantee, dude, Fence is 14, and he's got eyeliner on.
Yes, dude.
Took away my cigarettes, and they fucking flushed them down the toilet, man. Fuck this shit. I'm never going home.
So they tweet out the it's this video, and it's like however long, and Fence is like preaching from his manifesto. And now, and I actually forgot, damn it, I forgot a really important part here. After on the 18th. Okay, so with the technical update that had the word salad sentence, the technical update aimed at optimizing and expanding the internal functionality, ... who knows of what. The data miners tweeted out that they found that there was new fields added to the database. And these 3 fields are required player level minimum, required player level maximum, and minimum player level - access keys. And so everybody starts freaking out that like, they're going to lock labs to like a certain level, or they're going to do this or that. Or then the other side of people is like, the game's finally pushing towards 1.0. You're not going to be able to go to any map you want, anytime you want. And I had a feeling. I was like, I had so many people ask me, be like, bro, what do you think about that? And I was like, what I think is that I'm positive we are misinterpreting what this means. Like, this could have accidentally made it in from an idea they had 18 years ago. This could be for an event. It could be like what you're saying could be true. They could be locking down labs like everybody's wanted or whatever, or nobody's wanted. I actually don't even know anymore. But I was like, what I can tell you is that we don't know what's happening. And it turns out it was just for this event, because this event is, as I haven't played today, so as I understand it, all of the maps were locked, and you needed to turn in an item to access any of the maps except for one. It was like customs you could go to for free, but any other map you wanted to go to, you have to turn in as a pseudo labs card an item. And it's like pliers or a military tech loot or whatever.
Are they things that you can buy on the flea market?
Yes.
So now it's 3 million for pliers.
Yeah. So now it's just 200,000 rubles to go to Shoreline, right? Because whatever it is, the list of items changes every few hours.
Oh my god! And where do you see it, like on the map selection screen?
People are tweeting them. Oh yeah, if you select the map, it's like if you try to go to labs without a card, it's like you need a thing. It'll say what you need. It'll be like you need a military COFDM to access this map. But
fuck, that's stupid.
But customs was free. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong here.
I thought it was. But people were saying Shoreline.
Well, here's the thing. Customs was free.
Oh, they changed.
And then what? Well, then if you go to escapefromtarkov.com/one map open map, it was like I think it's the free map. I think it's the free map. You have to kill 120,000 PMCs or scavs total. Like the whole community needs to kill 120,000 PMCs or scavs. And when they do, it moves to the next map. So the free map rotates. The map that doesn't require a thing. So this is a really weird way of basically forcing the entire player base to play one map. It's like a PvP event where like everybody's playing one map because that's how you progress the event, is play that map and kill things, and also because you don't have to pay to go. Now, what I don't know, and I need chat's help here, is every time the map has changed, the map that they leave behind, is that map still free? Like, are we just unlocking them all? Or no? Okay. But is customs still free? Has customs been free all day? No. Okay, I just got some weird information. All right. But the other thing about the event is that if you're under level 15, all maps are free. Like in the event, in the video, Fence said something about like if you're still green, if you're still new to Tarkov, you're free. So if you're level 16, you're screwed, brother man. But it's because you can buy things from the flea market. So all maps have an access key card now. What that access key card is rotates every few hours, and metaphorically speaking, and one map is free. So now I haven't played today, and I'm not gonna knock the spirit of the event. I've actually seen a lot of people on Twitter be like, this has been so much fun. Everybody's on one map and we're all moving around and we're all trying to kill stuff and it's super fun. I find it funny because this seems like a really weird way to do that.
I would have just locked the fucking maps, like grayed them out.
Yeah. And we don't know how long is this going to continue. Is it going to cycle through all the maps and then reset? I don't know. But all we know is that currently one map is free. That map rotates. You never know. The market's not going to go too crazy with the items because the items change. So there'll always be a spike and it'll probably always level out up to between like 100 to 200. You know what I mean? Yeah, they could be stress testing. Maybe they on the back end, they're, if they normally let 15 players on customs, maybe they're letting 16 or 17 or 18. I don't know. I think it's just an event. You know what I mean? So interesting. So once again, I'm not necessarily knocking the spirit of the event. I truly don't know. You let us know in chat. Let us know in the comments. I've seen a lot of people say they enjoyed it. I'm sure there are a lot of people that like maybe just got into Tarkov that are frustrated or confused. They're trying to do their quest. I totally understand that. But it was a weird way to do it. Well, I thought was funny. You've got then of course, what do you have? We have an official event, so everyone's saying pre-wipe. I'm not saying it's not pre-wipe, but I don't think it is pre-wipe because it was around May of last year, if I remember correctly, that we got an event in Tarkov where this SOB named Lightkeeper wanted 1.5 trillion rubles. And what were we all saying? We were all saying, wait, what is that? Oh,
I don't know, dude.
Interesting.
I don't know, man. People won't shut the fuck up about the links. There's a link.
There's a link.
I don't know what it is. It's data of the kills and like stats on each map
per minute. I don't know why this is.
Don't know who's tracking it. Don't know how it's being tracked. I don't know if it comes from Tarkov. Don't know if it's data mined.
Yeah. So I just remember around this time last year, Lightkeeper wanted 1.5 trillion rubles, and everybody was like, surely this is a wipe. Surely this is a pre-wipe event. This is going to lead to a wipe. And it didn't. And at that point, we were like still like 8 weeks from a wipe after that event ended. So I don't think that just because we have an event, it's a wipe. It just, but what it has done is it has commenced. You know what I mean? It has begun. Like the wipe conversation has begun, and it shan't be done until we wipe. Whether that's 6 months from now or not, from this moment forward, we are in wipe season, baby. Like it's there. It's here. I am so. Like, I don't know, right? Like, every conspiracy theory, I've heard it all. They're going to wipe right here in May. It's going to be a short wipe. I've heard they're going to wipe. They're not going to wipe until September. It's going to be a long wipe. People are, they could just follow the formula. They could wipe in June, July. They could wipe. Maybe they wiped 6 times this year. I don't know. I understand. This is important that I understand, because last year this was me. Every year this has been me. I'm all in the conspiracy theories. I'm all in the theory crafting. I'm all in it. But give me a hug. You've welcomed me over to your side. I just don't care anymore. I just...
You're just like, dude, I don't fucking know. I don't care.
I don't know.
I can't, yeah. I can't get fucking invested.
Exactly. I am so excited for all of the things on the roadmap. I am so excited for the stuff that's coming to Tarkov. And I'm truly excited for a wipe, because the wipe is always the most fun time in the community and the stuff. I am excited about those things. But we're here in May. We have an event, and the conspiracy theories get like more intense every year. You know what I mean? Because now there's lots of, and I say conspiracy, it's theory crafting. Now the theory crafting includes like arena. Whoa, they're going to do arena here and then a wipe here. They're going to wipe here and then do arena here. They're going to have to wipe with Unity, or no way they're going to wipe with Unity, because they're going to want to not wipe with Unity, because they're going to lock down the bugs and then wipe a little later. Let me say that every theory craft I've heard bears a kernel of like, I can see that. Like almost every single one. I'm like, yeah, that would make sense. Like that would make sense. But what I have been beaten down into my core is that sense is not a part of the equation. So I am in, and don't take this as I hate the game. I'm excited to log on and play on Monday. I'm excited for the changes, but I just can't, like, I don't know anymore, man. Like, I just don't know. I don't know.
I'm heavily considering going to Twitter and be like, yo, I heard the wipes next week. Dude. I'm probably gonna, not be involved in it, but I really hope you guys have fun on Thursday.
Oh my God.
And just fucking walk away.
Oh my God. Dude, just don't even open Twitter for like 24 hours, and then just like, you would have 7,000 notifications. Oh my God. So yeah, I think like, who knows, man? Like, who knows? Who knows? There was something I missed. There was something else I missed. The change they did 2 days ago with the word salad update, and they fixed the trainers. A few people sought clarification on, is this, I don't know where this came from, by the way, but Nice Guy and Hayes both tweeted it with confidence, okay? But basically, clarification was, is this the 13.0.5 patch, which is like the first patch on the roadmap? And it was no, but it was, that patch is coming next week. That patch is expected to come next week. And that was like, I guess, okayed by whoever said that for them to tweet, because a few people tweeted it. So that was the other information. I saw some people in chat. Apparently, we can expect 13.0.5, which is the first patch on that roadmap, to drop this coming week. Now, remember, I don't think you'll want to play Tarkov as a result of that update, but I bet you'd want to like hop in and check it out, because this is the update where they said they've reworked the changes to the headset system. They did redoing headsets. They're redoing flashlights, not just fixing the bug, redoing the flashlights, and reworking the skybox on all locations. I remember when we went over the roadmap, we were like, I don't know what any of those things mean. So that's the patch that's apparently expected to come next week, in addition to some AI fixes and Oculus and the audio coming to interchange, dude. It has been left in the dust. It's been left in the dust. So yeah. So that, dude. So that was just since last Thursday, bro. All of that happened since last Thursday. It was
2 weeks before the wipe.
2 weeks before the wipe happened. Now, the last Tarkov related thing is, look at this tweet that Landmark tweeted.
Oh, God.
It's screenshots. He said that he had a bug on reserve. And that was the lighting on reserve. In a bugged out lobby. I'll post the tweet in the links, and I don't know if you want to pull it up or not, but like basically
wait, it looked good.
It was super bright. Yeah. And there's comparisons to like look at how bright that is, dude. Look at how amazing that looks.
Bro, okay, it's been this long since I played Tarkov that I was like, okay, there's proper lighting, and I'm like, wow, damn, like it's broken. Like,
oh, you thought the bugged lobby was the dark one? No,
yes.
My sweet prince. No, that's just Tarkov. Yeah,
dude. Oh my god, I'm looking at the one.
Yeah,
where he's standing in the hallway looking at all. There's a bunch of bodies.
Yeah,
and I realized I've never, ever once seen spray paint on that left wall there.
Nope.
Like I never knew any of that.
I didn't know that rubble there was like that. Like I know it was a door. I thought those were just all trash bags and stuff, right?
I would have assumed it was like cardboard boxes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude, we haven't. It was just like the like tech room across from
yes,
Kiba.
Yes.
When I was like, oh, dude, I've never seen the back wall of this fucking room.
And that was when we were using the like filters, the monitor filters to like, and I was showing how intense they were.
Yo, that's insane, Nikita. Please make this permanent.
Yeah.
Pray hands from JesseKazam response.
Please. So like, yeah. So that just like I've talked about the lighting a lot, primarily aimed at interchange lighting, but like I saw that and a little part of me died because I was like, the game would be so much more fun if you could just see. If you could just see when you were inside. So,
God, dude. Bro,
that was something.
Oh my God! You know, you just saying that again. This is unrelated. It's related to No Man's Sky. But you were just talking about the skybox, and then you're talking about the lighting. Bro, the fact that in No Man's Sky you can stand on a planet, okay? You can look up and you can see like a fucking ringed Saturn, in the sky off in the distance. And you get in your ship and you fly, and that circle just gets bigger until you land on the surface, and there's no loading. Yeah. There's no stutters. There's no.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, Tarkov freezes for 4 seconds, 8 seconds into a raid.
Bro, like the dubstep, like the Tarkov dubstep when you're like loading. I don't know how bad you got this bug, but if you're like loading into a raid or like exiting a raid or going into the hideout and it catches an audio, like if a craft finishes in your hideout and it catches it and it just goes and it just like repeats it over and over again.
Usually hit me for like, I don't know, 4 seconds, 5 seconds.
I have
or whatever.
that bug so often. Like people in my chat are like, dude, this never happened. Like I get it every time, and I've had it last for like a solid 7 or 8 seconds before.
Someone says I had this conversation like a week ago. Someone came in and said, I have a fix for that bug. And it was like, if you turn like the interface volume sound to like 0%, it's like,
that's not a fix,
bro. Yeah, like I have a fix for Tarkov's terrible lighting. Turn your monitor off.
Yeah, I have a fix for the audio issues. Unplug your headphones.
It's like to me the issue was never the sound. Like it was never the having the sound. It was the fact that the game is like a skipping disc.
Yeah.
Like every other game, when that happens, it'll do that forever, and that's when you unplug the Xbox and plug it back in. It's like it's stuck in a loop. It's like a major bug.
And if everybody just turns the audio off, then nobody reports it as a bug or says anything, and then it just ends up being one of those features that, you know what I mean? It's like
the dubstep it's like a side effect of the issue.
Yeah.
It's not, the issue isn't, oh wow, this annoying sound happens every time when I go to leave a raid.
Yeah.
This is why nothing gets fixed or reported, because people say the dubstep hurts my ears.
Yeah.
And then people go, BSG goes, oh, stop whining.
Yeah.
Turn the volume down. And they never actually realize that the issue is a fucking like memory leak, or it's like a multi-threading issue, or some nonsense.
So, the lighting was like, wow. I was like, damn, that looks good. Oh, and then the same thing, like it's even outside. Like sometimes I play woods a lot, and every like 30 woods raids, you get the raid where there's no volumetric fog, and like you're standing up on Sniper Rock, and you're like, I can see, like I can snipe. You know what I mean? Like I've always found it interesting, like in the DayZ community, like people get like, 800-meter snipes, 900-meter snipes, 1,000-meter snipes, and like Airwing can pull a 1,000-meter snipe on a rogue on Lighthouse from like one position in the entire Escape from Tarkov, and only because he'll shoot 14, he'll make 14 attempts, but like on player versus player, like
unless you're tower,
most snipes happen between like 100 to 200 meters, and the craziest clips happen at like 300-400 meters. And you've seen a few clips out at crazy because you just can't see farther than that. Even on a bright sunny day with no fog, there's still like the distance volumetric fog. Like the fog is always there. It's how bad is it? And on a bright sunny day, you can't really see that well past like 200-300 meters.
What's the furthest would have to be like you're up on
sniping is like hard to do.
You're up on dome and you're looking way towards either like the back left barracks, or like straight ahead down the road at like the scav exfil, like the PMC scav exfil on reserve. I feel like those are like, that's the most accessible, like possible long range sniping spot.
Because like if you can get up on the Lighthouse, like if you've done but that's the thing, that's why that's not accessible. It's because you have to do all the quests to get the new quests, to do all the quests to get the thing, to go out there, and then from there, at that point, you're a high enough level and have enough money, you don't really care. But if you wanted to, from there, you can get snipes to player scavs and people running along the beach at the water treatment plant, which is around like 700, 800, 900 meters. But it's just like, even like when we play woods and we're like, oh my God, like this is amazing. Like this is like you just get the one where there's no fog and you're like, this looks so good. Like the game is gorgeous. You can see, you can spot enemies and stalk them and snipe them. And it's like, oh, it's dope. Yeah. Oh. So that is Tarkov.
Yikes.
Zoinks, Scoobs. Yeah.
Yo, bro, have you ever seen Love, Death, and Robots?
Oh, yeah. I saw you put it on the notes. Yeah, I've seen both seasons. Yeah.
So now a couple people have mentioned it, like inside comments on stream, like, have you seen it? And it's like, no. And it's like one of those things where, once again, I'm mad that like nobody.
Yeah, it was like, you really should check it out.
Yeah, like the way that it was described, again, it's like the same thing with Outer Wilds and the same thing with all these, like, you can say things to explain what it is and why I would like it without like spoiling it. Like, sell me on it. Fuck, like when it's, but the problem is I'm inviting people to tell me why like some mediocre dumb bullshit is the most amazing thing.
Yeah.
And the only reason why I watched this finally was because I was watching I was in a marathon of like Lovecraftian cosmic horror stuff.
Oh.
And one of the things was talking about a story written by a guy that ended up being, it was like episode 2 or 3, where it was the guy's the ship ends up like 100,000 light years off course or whatever, and then he ends up with like the smoking hot woman, and there's that whole thing. And so that was like based on a cosmic horror like story.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's like you know how when someone describes something, you just create a picture in your head about what it is.
For sure.
And literally Love, Death, and Robots, I pictured like Mr. Robot.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's just a show.
Yeah.
Something, like at that point, that's all was in my head. It wasn't like what it is is the way I would describe it is they're like almost all of them are animated. I think they're all animated.
Yeah.
But the problem is that
they're all different styles of animation.
Yeah, but some of them are like, I'm sitting there looking, saying, is this like mocapped? Is this animated?
Yeah,
is this real?
yeah.
I can't tell if it's real and they put like a filter on it because it's some of the best.
Yeah.
Some of the best animation I've ever seen in my entire life. It's as photorealistic as I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it's only until like someone talks and says one particular thing and you look at their mouth, they're like, that looks like fake.
Yeah.
But most of the time,
well, we're in the uncanny valley where you're like, wait, what?
There's nothing more awkward than like a sex scene that's animated.
Yeah.
You see like a shirtless woman getting up on like the lap of a guy and them kissing where you're like, that is some goofy looking bullshit. And I was like, that's real. Like, that's a real boob that I just saw. Those are some real jiggle physics. That what, like, I'm like, that's real. But, anyway, the way I would describe it is they're like short animated episodes of Black Mirror.
Yeah, pretty much.
And some of them are like comic book level animation. Some of them are, like I said, photorealistic, but they're all over the place.
Yeah, all over.
There was only one I didn't like, and it literally made me anxious the entire time. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
No.
It's like might be the last one in like the 3rd season, and it was like the guy. It was almost kind of samurai-esque, but in like India.
Yep. I know exactly which one you're talking about.
And the problem is that I've been watching them while I'm playing like Magic or like chess, so I'm only half paying attention. And all I look over and I just see like the whole thing was a fucking fever dream.
Yeah, it was that one was very like, anxious.
I need to like Google like explain it because I don't want to watch it again.
Yeah.
But I need someone to explain what the fuck was happening there.
Yep. I don't know what that one was supposed to be conveying either. Yeah.
But yeah, like they're only like 12, 14 minutes long.
Yeah, they're not
like,
long.
Super short, and they're very Black Mirror-esque.
Yep.
But then there's also that one with the giant on the beach.
Yep.
That recently saw something about that. It's so weird because I feel like I saw something about that. It might have been like an H Bomber Guy video or like a Jacob Geller video or something. Maybe. But I feel like that whatever I saw predated that episode. So I'm wondering if, how sometimes a series like that might like buy something that was already done and like adapt it. I can't tell if that was new or old.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'd seen that before. Anyway, I would hugely, highly recommend if you have Netflix, go check out. Go check out. Is it Love, Death, and Robots?
Love, Death, and Robots. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really, really good. They're really like super short, which I like because like the only downside is that I went through them so fucking fast.
Yeah. Yep.
In 2 days, I watched all of them. There's 3 like seasons, I guess.
Yeah.
Collections, but fantastic.
Yep. I think it's David Fincher that made him. Who made
that
like
name sounds familiar.
Fight Club, Gone Girl,
okay.
Mindhunter.
Dude, you know what my favorite episode was? Was the one with like the like weird alien fighting ring with like the people who like mind control them. Dude, I don't know what that is, but I need like a fucking full-blown...
a whole series about that. Yeah.
Oh, dude, and you know that I really love that it's like full on like borderline X-rated. Like you see full nudity.
Yeah.
You see like the gore of all gore. You know, like some real fucking gory shit. It's so good though. It's so good.
Yeah, it's really good.
And then one other last thing I wanted to mention that I've recently got into. I need to like tweet at these guys because I want them to like sponsor me or like sponsor us or something like that because I'm enjoying this so much that like I want to. When I like organically come across a product that I think is cool, that I really like, I'm like, I need them to. I want them to sponsor me because just like all of the sponsors we've had that like we use them.
Yeah.
It's
It's
just
the
so much
best
easy to
integration.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't have to bullshit. You don't have to fake it. You know, it's like it's just natural.
Yep.
It's you know, it's you don't have to read scripts, you know, or whatever. But so my wife actually introduced me to something called Dice Throne.
Hmm.
She like was at hanging out with like some of her work friends, and they played it. It's like the only way I can describe it is it's a tabletop game.
Okay.
That if anybody's ever played Hearthstone or Magic, the way I would describe it is it's like a weird mishmash of it's like a little bit more complex than Hearthstone, not as complex as Magic, but also has some board game elements, some kind of D&D-esque elements. But
that's dope.
Dude, it's really cool, and the way it works is you buy like the boxes of them, and it comes with like 2 heroes, and they're different like archetypes. You know, like one might be like a pyromancer, and the other one might be like fucking, you know, like a druid kind of thing. I think it's like a treant or something. So you have your own sets of cards, like decks of cards. There's dice rolling, and you have like a little game board, and the game board has, I think, 8 little sections that are all like powers that you have.
Okay.
So what happens is, and like Magic, there's all these phases to a turn where it's like you have like a little, there's a little dial that controls your like combat points. So like you start off with 2, and that's like almost like mana. If you've ever played Hearthstone or you've ever played Magic, it's like that's how many points you have to spend on things. So if you have a card, the card might be draw 3 cards. That costs like 2 CP. So then you like, you know, turn the dial and you have your little health dial. But basically the way it works is like you roll the dice, and the dice have they're 6-sided dice, but they have little icons on them.
Okay.
So like one of the simpler characters is like a ninja.
Okay.
So it's a 6-sided dice, so like 3 of the sides are like a blade, and then like 2 of them are like this poison icon, and like one of them is like a shadow thing. Now if you get any combination of things, so like your first ability might be like 3 daggers, it's like do 3 damage. 4 daggers is like do 4 damage. Or you can get like, if you get like 1, 2, 3, 4, that might be some ability that's like draw a card, add a shadow token, do 5 damage. But then there might be like a small straight, a long straight. So you might have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then there's like the ultimate ability, and everybody's ultimate is like you get 5 6s.
Oh.
And that's like you deal, like you do all the things that you can do.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is, and then so you roll the dice, and you get multiple re-rolls of as many dice as you want. So like let's say, you know, if you want to try to get like 5 of the ninja icons, you might roll 3 of the ninja icons. So then you take the other 2 and you like try to roll them, try to get 2 more of them. There are cards that like modify dice for you or for your opponents. When you attack them, they get to defend, and they roll, and they have like defense abilities. It's just really cool.
Yeah.
It's super like accessible, because my wife is not a gamer. She's never played Hearthstone. We've played Magic like once or twice. I walked her through a game, and she was like, I don't know, it wasn't really that fun, you know, like, and the best part is too, like, as someone who, you know, I've played Magic for years, and these types of games, like, you would think I'd have like a massive advantage over someone like my wife, who's just never played these types of things where it's like card advantage. You want to try to, you know, there's a meta around, like, she doesn't know any of this stuff, and she wins. I think I've only beat her once out of like maybe 15 out of 15 games. Which is great, because she loves it. Yeah. And for me, it's like a challenge, because it's not just easy, and I don't have to let her win. Dude, it's so much fun. And we just recently got she bought a patio set. Because we literally, I've been out on my deck like twice in like 10 years that I've owned my house. I just don't fucking go out on my back deck. Yeah. And we set up a little patio table, and just after the stream, dude, just grab some iced coffee, and we just sit down and we play some Dice Throne. It's like been so chill.
That's cool.
To get some fresh air, hang out with the wife, play games. But dude, it's super fucking cool.
That's
man.
sick. I grew up, we were like big into like board games just because it's like it's oftentimes just like the thing you need to just have a good time. You know what I mean? You get some drinks, you do something. There's just like you're doing something with your hands, you're doing something with your mind, and it's like a good way to just have some fun. And so I've loved like board games. We got big into Catan and all these other like all the games back in the day, like as they came up. And it's been a long time since I've done it. But like that sounds great. I love the like strategy and like there's like it keeps your brain going. It's not just like roll die, go this turn, you know what I mean? So that sounds dope actually.
Dude, and it's like a cool party game too because you can play with like couples. So it can be like I'm the pyromancer, my wife's the tree ant, and we play as a team against another pair of two different characters. And there's all sorts of things around. Like
That's
I
cool.
can give a healing token to me, or like so when I play against my wife, I'm giving myself the things. But if I play with my wife on the same team, now there's like a synergy between like I can give her these things, you know. So that's another element. And then there's probably like 20 different characters. So there's like different strategies. Some of them are much more complicated than others. Dude, it's a lot of fun, and something that I really want to try. I'm looking forward to checking out. That I'm probably gonna like buy tonight on Amazon or on their website if I can find it. I think they're called like adventures, and what it is it almost turns the game into like a Dungeons and Dragons campaign kind of thing.
Oh, it's like an addition to Dice Throne.
Yeah, so now we take the characters. So we'll set up the characters, but we're working together. And then you like set up all these cards. It's almost like a dynamic thing where like you're going through dungeons and you together are like fighting mini bosses. So they have like a character thing that you're pulling from a deck. So it's different every time. And you roll the dice for them. So the combat is all the same rules of combat, but it can last like it's a campaign. So it can last like weeks. And you have this sheet where you're like, you could keep track of where you're at and everything. So you can pack it all up and then like a couple of days later, open it back up again and continue along with the campaign. That sounds like it's going to be super fun.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dude, I need to hit these guys up. And there's like nothing. I went onto YouTube because I wanted to check it out. It's called Dice Throne. I wanted to like look up to see like, is there like a pro tour? Because I love watching like the Magic Pro Tour. And I couldn't find like anything. It doesn't seem like it's like huge. It's at least like 2 or 3 years old. It might go back further, but I mean, there's like maybe a dozen YouTube videos and they all have like 200 views on like Dice Throne. There's really not a whole lot. So
that's kind of cool.
I wish it was like digital.
Yeah. I was just about to ask if they had like a digital version. You know what I mean? Like that's dope.
No. So these guys must be making pretty decent cash because it's not super cheap. Like when you buy a box, the box comes with 2 characters. And let me look. And there might be like $40 or $50 or something. So if you wanted to buy like all of season 1, which is like 10 heroes or something, but it's probably like $100 something.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like a different board game kind of kind of every time. I just threw a link. I'll throw this one in chat. If you take a look, it's shop.dicethrone.com/pages/heroes. You can see like if you scroll down, you can see like what the board looks like. So like that's what you get in the box. And my wife came home and she's like, I got card sleeves and I got these little things that we can roll our dice in. I'm like, you fucking nerd!
Yes.
And I'm like, she always used to make fun of me when I would be like, when I'd be like, I'm going down to fucking Relentless Dragon to go get sleeves for my Magic card. She's like, you fucking geek. And now I find out she's buying.
Geek? No.
She went on Etsy and bought like these custom 3D printed tokens that are like plastic tokens and I'm like, you fucking nerd. I love you.
That is sick.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome. There's a Dice Throne on Tabletop Sim. Oh shit.
That's cool. I'm looking through and just like seeing how like they even rate the complexity of the characters.
Yeah, so that's the thing is that like the 1 or 2 star characters, they usually what ends up happening is there's only like 3 symbols on the dice. Like the first 3 dice is like the attack thing. Like it's like
yeah.
shuriken for a ninja, or like a fireball for like the pyromancer. And really there's only like, you either do, you get a bunch of the fireballs and do damage, or another one is like you get one of each of the things and you do some other,
Yeah.
you add a token and then do some damage. It's when you defend, it's like, okay, I take damage. Okay, well now I'm gonna do 3 damage back to you. It's like really fucking kind of straightforward. It's like glass cannon.
Yeah.
Whereas like I was playing another one of the heroes, which is the tree ant, which is like the 6 out of 6 difficulty. And that's like, there's these little things that you have called spirits, so these little tokens. And there's like a seedling, there's a sapling, and there's a dryad. And every turn you get to grow a spirit, which you can either like upgrade the seedling to a sapling, or you could just grow another seedling, and they all have different abilities. So like, there's just so much more you can do.
Yeah.
There's more complicated combinations of dice for the abilities. There's just a lot more strategy involved. I'm guessing, all things being equal, like if you play the 6 out of 6 complexity character like optimally, you'll probably own the 1 out of 6.
Yeah.
Like most of the time. But it's probably just harder to play like optimally. But dude, it's one of those things that's like can be super simple or like really in depth. It's as deep as you want to go with it. And then the fact that like my wife brought this to me, I didn't have to like push it on her, and now she's like, hey, want to play Dice Throne? Hey, I just bought 2 new characters. I went to Barnes and Noble and bought. I'm like, hell yeah.
Like, that's so sick.
Dude, it's been nice. So people should check that out.
Yeah,
if
that's dope.
Fucking Mr. Dice Throne, CEO of Dice Throne, is listening.
Dice Throne, hit
me up.
That's awesome.
I'll take all the season 2 characters for free.
Yeah, well, yeah. That's awesome. Yo, that's sick. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, yep. That's the stuff. You've just been grinding away on No Man's Sky still? Doing multiple runs, multiple characters, or are you going ham on one character?
I'm still on the permadeath run from last week.
Oh.
I'm like figured out like the end goal.
Okay.
Actually, I think I mentioned it. Like, kind of like get to the center of the galaxy and then post up on that like Earth, like that perfect. Like, if we had maybe another 40 minutes before the podcast, I probably could have done that. But I got distracted by that random dude in my base. I could probably do that now. So I mean, like, I could finish it and start over. I'm not sure what I want to do.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what I want to do. Oh, dude, real quick. Fucking Chat GPT kind of almost talked me out of doing my video essay. Yeah, so
what?
I straight up, because now because I've got like the the paid versions of Chat GPT and all this stuff, just because I mess with it a lot with content creation, but also I'm just fascinated by this tech in general.
Yeah.
So, well, the first thing I did was I said, what is, and then I copy pasted that random word salad from the H.P. Lovecraft thing. And it was like, the finished text you provided translated to English as follows. Bigger than a barn, full of twisting ropes. The creature is overall a bit like the shape of an egg and bigger than anything I've seen in my life. And it's dozens of pig head-sized legs that close halfway. I'm like, yeah, that's Lovecraft, all right. That's Lovecraft. That seems like a vivid and somewhat disturbing description of an enormous, possibly alien or otherworldly creature. The translation might not be perfect, as the original text uses a highly colloquial and somewhat idiosyncratic form of Finnish.
What?
Thanks, Chat GPT. But then after that, I was like,
damn.
You know what? I kind of want to know if Chat GPT can give me maybe some context or perspective on my whole angle on is No Man's Sky cosmic horror. So I said, is No Man's Sky cosmic horror? And it, it said it was a game developed by blah, blah, blah. Cosmic horror is a subgenre characterized by the fear and awe we feel when confronted by phenomena beyond our comprehension, whose scope extends beyond the narrow field of human affairs and boasts a cosmic significance. This term is closely associated with H.P. Lovecraft. While No Man's Sky does involve exploration of a vast, incomprehensible universe, its primary focus is not on instilling a sense of dread or significance or insignificance in the player. It lacks the disturbing, fear-inducing elements typically found in the cosmic horror genre. And then it did basically said like, yeah, it's open to interpretation. And I'm like, fuck. You're just like, it was basically like, nah, not really. And I'm like, so I said, are you familiar with the story contained within it about the Atlas? And it went through and it said, there are several storylines, blah, blah, blah. Throughout this journey, it suggested that the Atlas, actually, I don't even want to read that because it's a spoiler. Yeah, that's all. This is all spoiler territory. But it says these themes touch on concepts such as existentialism and determinism, the nature of reality, and the meaning of life. And some of the other things it talked about, I go. So then I responded with, it said at the end, please note that the game is regularly updated with new content. And the storyline or lore might not have evolved or expanded since my trading data was cut off in September 2021, which there's been a lot that's been added to the game in the last 2-3 years. So I said, that sounds to me like it has elements of cosmic horror. No, like some of the things that I kept out of there. And it said it does have elements that can be associated with cosmic horror, blah blah blah. However, it's worth noting that while No Man's Sky does have these elements, they're not necessarily presented in a way that's intended to instill horror or fear. It typically involves a sense of fear, terror, or dread in response to these themes, and that's not the primary emotional response that No Man's Sky seems designed to evoke.
Yeah,
the game is generally, and I'm like, fuck.
Nah.
Like, did I just whiff? No, but then I went and said, well, are you familiar with some recent updates that include the more darker, nefarious elements of the story referring to the Abyss, the Void Mother filling the universe with corruption, all the other things in there? I'm like, does that change your opinion? And it basically said, yeah, I don't have the training data, but some of those things do sound a lot more Lovecraftian. And I said, I wanted to do a video essay on why I think the game could be considered cosmic horror, but you may have talked me out of it. And it said, I apologize if it seemed like I was discouraging your idea. My intention was simply to provide information based on my limited understanding on the training data. However, the interpretation of genre can be subjective, and there's certainly room for different viewpoints. If you feel that some of the elements, blah, blah, blah.
That's
and it said,
crazy.
And it finished with analyzing the game through the lens of cosmic horror could provide a really fresh take and could contribute valuable insights into the narrative and thematic depth of the game. So I would encourage you to pursue this idea if it's something that you're passionate about. Your unique interpretation and perspective could make for a compelling analysis and would undoubtedly be of interest to many fans of the game. And I'm like,
ChatGPT is a supportive homie.
Dude, I literally just was like, I have this idea, and they kind of shot it down accidentally without knowing, when someone's like, you ever thought about starting a business with such and such a thing? And your friend was like, nah, that sounds like fucking stupid. And you're like, oh, because I was going to do that. And they're like, no, but I think like you would.
Yeah.
That's the conversation I just had where I'm like, oh, you totally shot me down. And it's like, no, but I think that I fucking hate this technology,
that's
man.
Unreal. That is unreal, dude. Like, truly, that's crazy.
And I literally went through at the end, and I'm like, what do you think about The Jaunt from Stephen King? Is that cosmic horror? And it talks about that. And then I said, all of these things that I described, plus some other new things I've described, plus what you know about the game, gives me the same vibes as, the Stephen King's The Jaunt. Yeah. You just agreed has many elements of cosmic horror. And it was based on your description. No Man's Sky indeed does seem to have strong elements that align with the genre. The aspects you mentioned, X, Y, and Z, all contribute to an atmosphere of existential dread and insignificance that is definitely characteristic of cosmic horror. So basically, it was just like, at the end, it said, you know what? I think you're right. I didn't know about all this new information, but based on how you posed it, totally do it. People would love it. It even said, like, fans, the player community, and fans of cosmic horror would both like it. It was like almost telling me, like, dude, the algorithm is going to like this because you've got all these two distinct communities. I'm like, fucking God, I just went on a roller coaster of emotions with this fucking stupid website.
With a website. Bro, that is That's insane. Also, you should totally do the video. And I'm glad it talked you back into it. I hope it did. Because it's such a good video. That's such a good, like, it's such a, I think it's great. I think it's a great idea. I think it's a big enough game with like enough buzz and enough players, and you're asserting something way off the beaten path about it with backup of the lore, which people love lore, and the lore in that game is not very forward facing. And so it's just like a really cool way to like just break something into something new. I think you should do it.
Yeah,
I want to watch it.
The hardest part for me right now is like sourcing a lot of the information. It's hard because a lot of it, like all of the ARG stuff that was involved in a lot of the backstory, it's like I have to go on Internet Archive. It doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
A lot of the references, like other people talking about certain things in videos, it's like one person said this thing without a source. It's like, well, I almost need to like interview them because I'm like, where are you getting this information from? Because it's like not in the wiki. It's like not in the game. I need to figure out like
that is.
I wonder if there's like a book or something, you know, like how BSG published like the fucking book with like the lore. Like if there's one of those, I don't know.
Get Sean Murray on the podcast.
Dude, one of the ARGs like early on had like a big message, and at the end it was like signed by SM.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Tiki TAF just asked if this is an old episode. This is a rerun, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't live.
This is not live. This is a rerun. We are in the past. We've broken the event horizon.
Event Horizon is actually a really good cosmic horror. And funny story, the first time I ever slept over my wife's house in college, for some reason, she put Event Horizon on, like the DVD on, and we like fell asleep to that. Bro, have you ever fallen asleep and had you know how the DVD menus like were like 90 seconds that would just loop? Do you ever like try to sleep through that? It was like a 9-hour fever dream of like waking up hearing the loop of the thing over and over and over again, not like being in a totally new place. I still have like nightmares about that night.
Yeah.
It was the worst night of sleep I've ever had in my entire life.
Yeah. Dude, I know those old freaking DVDs, man. I know exactly what you're talking about. Oh.
That was the smallest story time ever.
I love it. That's awesome. Do the video.
I gotta figure out
Chat GPT convince you to do it. But yeah, I just completely lost my train of thought. Yep, nope, that's it. That's the stuff. I think.
Hostess?
That's the hostess. That's the stuff. I was like hostess, but that's the stuff. Yeah. No Man's Sky. Keep in it. I've been playing some Star Citizen. The new update is nice. It broke again because there's a free flag going on right now, so there's like hundreds of thousands of people playing because it's free, but whatever. But that's been super fun. Tarkov. We'll see, boys. Hopefully next week we'll have a new patch to talk about, and the roadmap will be coming, and Unity will be right around the corner, and they'll fix the game.
It's gonna wipe, obviously. So
it'll wipe next Thursday, and every subsequent Thursday, we will smoke that copium, that sweet copium, for all the day long. But yeah, so thank you guys as always for hanging with us. A lot of hilarious Tarkov news this week. Yes, you have to tweet out that the wipe is next week. But thank you guys so much for hanging with us. As always, thank you so much for HelloFresh for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. And it's Saturday, which is making my brain explode because we normally do this on Thursday. So this will be live Monday, just here in a few days. So this will be nice that this episode we didn't miss too much. So, but we'll see. Thank you guys so much for hanging with us, and we will definitely See y'all on the next one.
Peace.